Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back, my good friends, to Heirloom Afternoon. How are you doing today? It is Tuesday. I would say it's 12 noon, but it is not. And it is, though, an episode of Heirloom Afternoon. I am your host, Cheryl Whited. You can call me Muppin. And today I'm coming to you with the darkest of eyeliner and the deepest of lipsticks to tell you, my friends, how are you doing today? I have had so many technical difficulties going on, and of course, all will be revealed soon. I have so many secrets I have been keeping from you, not intentionally, my friends, but because they must stay secret for now. Today, I'm very excited to try something brand new to me. Hopefully, it is new to you. And I will go on record right now saying that I have maybe tried 5 stitches total of this technique. And so you will be right here learning along next to me for Tambour Embroidery. Before we get started, though, I want to tell you that we have a new book. Welcome, Sue. How are you doing today? Hopefully, you are doing well. Um, we have a new book called Smock It To Me, The History and Technique of Canadian Smocking. This is brand new. We have copies in our shop right now that you can buy. And if you are interested in our book, please hurry right on over to shop.muppin.com and pick up your book today. This book is a long, it is a deep dive into one single technique, which is the heirloom technique of Canadian smocking. It is very cool. It is one of my absolute favorite things to do, and I know that you are going to love it. You can see a little copy right there on our set. You really should check this out. It's a lot of fun. Roxanne, no, you did not miss me. We're having lots of technical difficulties. Um, can I tell you, my friends, it has been an absolute crazy time over here. It is sheer pandemonium. We have Max here for the summer, and we all got a lovely summer cold, as you could probably hear. And we have been just everything is chaos. Chaos, I tell you. So, no, you didn't miss me. We're here. We're late. You're probably like, Cheryl, this looks like a very different look camera wise for you. It is. We're using a different camera than we normally use because we're having so many technical issues. Which no one likes to hear. Okay, so we're going to talk about tambour embroidery today. What is tambour embroidery? Now, you've probably seen tambour embroidery, and tambour embroidery is quite very old, been around a very long time. Oh gosh, Roxanne, he is as tall as I am now, and he's he's losing his little boy face, and he's now like a little preteen, and he's oh my gosh, he'll be on Friday on our Friday show. So I'm drinking some tea. I hope you don't mind. Tambour embroidery. What is tambour embroidery? Now, the reason they call it tambour is because you normally perform this embroidery on a hoop. And what you do is you stretch your fabric across the hoop so that it is taut like a drum. The word tambour is French for drum, and that is where you get tambour embroidery. Because you are performing this on on tight fabric surface, that is what this embroidery is. It starts off as. And we normally see tambour embroidery on things like very high end couture gowns and things like that. And if you've followed, especially my Facebook page, you know that I love to share videos of tambour embroidery and of these high-end couture houses doing tambour embroidery and tambour beading on very taut surfaces of very thin organza, or in this case this is like a netting material. So you're thinking like, okay, well, how does this work, Cheryl? Gwen, good afternoon. How are you doing today? All right. So the basics of what you need for tambour embroidery are really, really simple. And I'm just going to go over the tools that you'll need. And I'm just going to back up my camera a little bit. But it's like, it's funny because the camera's attached to the computer. So you got to go on that little ride along with me. All right. So here is the tambour embroidery tools. This is what you're going to need. You're going to need a hoop of some kind. I'm so sorry. And like I said, we've all caught these lovely summer colds. And it's been a challenge for most of us. Let's see what we can do. One moment. Okay, grabbed myself a little cough drop. Hopefully that works. 1 second here. Okay. Here's what you need. You need a hoop of some kind. And you're going to need some fabric. Now, you can do this kind of embroidery on any fabric. I'm using a transparent material because I want to be able to see what I'm doing on the underside. You'll also need a tambour hook. And this one I got from Amazon. It is a tambour hook with 3 different tools, 3 different needles. And this is where you would select the needle that you need based on the thickness of the thread that you are you're tambouring with. Okay. And in this case, I'm going to choose this middle one. And we're just going to pull that little needle out. Now, let's take a look at that. Get it back into focus here. There we go. Okay. So if you can see, let's get something dark. There we go. All right. So let's get that focus. Come on, computer. See, these are the technical difficulties we have to deal with every day. You can see it's almost like a little crochet hook. It is super pointy on the one end. Okay. So we've got a very sharp little point there. And it goes into your tambour hook. Okay. So there's a very specific way to enter this into your hook. You want to make sure that your little knob is untightened, and you're going to be able to get that in there. And you want your hook, the actual hook portion there, Okay. We want that to be pointing towards um, the knob. And that's an important key to this technique. Yeah, it is not big. It's very tiny. Okay, so it's like the size almost of a needle. And let's see if we can get it to focus on it up here. Nope, it does not want to do it. Okay, so it's almost like like a teeny tiny little crochet hook, but it's pointy at the top. And we want that hook to be pointing towards the knob. And the knob is an important factor here. Okay, we think at first the knob is not an important factor, but it's a huge factor. Okay. The other thing is you need some thread, and in this case, I'm using just some Aurifil 30 weight. Or is this 30 weight? Yes. So yeah, isn't 30, I'm pretty sure it's 30 weight. Anyway, we're using some Aurifil thread. It's a thicker thread than, and what we're going to do, you can also use, so this is your basic. This is all you need to start, okay? There are other ways to start, other things to use. This is your basic. Okay, so we have the appropriate needle, the appropriate, uh, size for what we have on our thread here. And like I told you, I've only done maybe 10 stitches. Okay, so you're about to learn at the same time I am, okay? The other thing is you are going to go straight down into this fabric, straight down into the fabric and straight back out. And what's important is that you have this sort of raised from your surface so that one, you can get your underneath hand under here, and two, so that you can go straight down and straight back up. You don't want to go in at an angle and back out at an angle. Okay, it's this type of embroidery. You're going to go straight down and straight back out. Okay, you don't want to get this little hook, okay, caught on your fabric on the way down or the way back out. Now, you could do that a lot of different ways. There are, embroidery hoops that are on like little legs, little stands. You could do that, or you can just prop up one end of your embroidery surface. And I'm going to do that. I'm just going to use my the other end on a pin cushion. Okay, so this is really basic. I don't want to spend a lot of money. I want to just try this technique, and that's what we're doing. Now, there are ways to tie your thread on and off, and currently I'm not doing that. I am just anchoring my thread with a pin, and I'll show you how I've done that. Okay, so what I've done is I've just taken a pin and I put that into the surface of the fabric here, and I'm taking this and I'm just using it like almost like a figure eight, and I'm just doing a little figure eight to anchor it. And now what I want to do is I want to pull my thread to the back. And so I'm going to take my little hook and I want to grab the thread and go straight back down and see how I'm pulling that thread down to the back. Oh, there's a little knot here. Oh, we don't want that knot, so we're going to cut that knot off because we don't want that in our process. So we're just going to cut that little knot off. And of course, the neighbor has decided to mow their lawn right at this exact moment. Ah, the joys, my friends, of doing live video. Okay, so now we have our hook, we have our surface, we have our thread that's anchored. And normally you would do like a tie on off situation. Okay, so here's what I understand to be the basic stitches for what we're going to do is a chain stitch. Now, chain stitch embroidery, very old. Yes, you can do it with a needle. This is the tambour chain stitch process. So what you're doing is we're going to be chain stitching in this direction from left to right. What we want to do is always point the knob of our tambour needle in the direction that we're moving. Okay, so we're going to go straight down into the fabric, and then with our underneath hand, okay, so let me get another thing here to prop this up. There we go. Okay, because I have to show this to you with all right, so we're going in this direction. So we have our, you see our knob is going in that same direction. That is so that you know which way the hook is pointing. We go straight down. Then we wrap clockwise around, and then we turn the knob and we come straight back out. Now there's going to be a little tension here, so you're going to want to pull. Okay, so now you can see that we have our thread is hooked, and then we go back and we turn and we go straight down. We go around with the thread, turn. Oh, you have to make sure you catch the thread, and then back straight out. And this is where you can sometimes get caught, so you want to make sure that you go straight back out. And if not, go back down a little. There we go. Nope, we're still caught. This takes a lot of practice. Okay, so down, and we've turned, or back out. Or not back out. Kind of back out, but we're caught. There we are. Okay, sometimes you have to go back down and you have to let go of everything so that we can make sure that it goes the right way. Also, if you need to start over, not a problem. Take out your Tambour hook. There we go. Okay. Now this is where we want to pay attention to the length of our stitch, because we want them to be somewhat even. Now remember, here's where we turn. We turn. Oop, I didn't catch it. This is very tricky. There is a catch to it. No, I'm going the wrong way around. That would be why. There we go. And you have to turn. You come out. And see how I'm turning? Straight. We're going straight towards. Straight towards. You're learning at the same time I am. Straight down. Wrap your thread. Turn the hook. See, now my hook is pointing the other direction. But we need to make sure that our hook is caught the thread. and then we go straight back out, and then turn it again, and then down. So let's just focus on making sure that we're doing the turn right, and not so much on the length of the thread or the length of our stitch. I'm gonna give myself a little raised surface here so that you can see this better. Let's get that into focus. There we go. Okay, so what we're trying to do is, now here's the best part. If you take your hook out and you're like, I don't like how any of that looks, you can just pull on it and it all disappears, which is also a frighteningly scary thing to do. So that's the basics. And we're going to continue to do this, but I'm going to include something new. I'm going to okay. So I'm going to use this stand. This is a lap stand. And what you do is you put this like under your lap or under your leg, and you can sit on it, and then you can raise this section up and down, and you can clamp your video or your not your video, your whatchamacallit into here. So let's do that. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this in under my lap so that we can get this to hold our thing. And then there we go. This is going to be so much easier than me trying to stand this all up on something. There we go. Okay, so let's show you what I've done here. Now you can see that I've got this on my lap, and I've got this so that my hands are free from using trying to hold up the hoop and do this technique at the same time. So now when we do this, it should be a lot easier. Remember, our knob has to be facing the direction that we're sewing. So we go down into the fabric. We're going to loop around, twist, and pull up. And again, we're trying not to catch the fabric, going straight down and straight up. Then we turn again, and our knob is facing the direction we're sewing. And we go down, we loop, we turn, and pull. And the more straight down and up you go, the more straight down and up your needle will go. And it won't catch on the fabric or your previous stitch. Okay. There we go. Straight. We're pointing the direction we're sewing. We go down, we wrap, we turn, we pull up. Pull straight up. And you got to give yourself a little slack to get through, but also not catch your stitch. There we go. Yeah, see, we're caught on that stitch. And if your fabric is not super taut, that could also be an issue. And if you're pulling too tightly on the needle, let's go wrap that again. Face the direction, wrap, pull straight up. Here we go. Okay. Go down, wrap, turn, straight up. And it's the straight up and down that you and I mostly will have trouble with because we're so used to, you, me, everybody, of using a needle to do this process, right? And when you use a needle and you go straight down, you can angle it any which way you want. And that usually means that, we're able to just, angle and go straight out. And when we are using this needle, the real trick of it is that straight down and straight up. So again, we're caught, but we're just trying to detangle. Again, this is going to be the thing that happens to us in those first few stitches that we're learning. All right, so we've got our straight down, wrap, turn, and straight back out. And I just seem to always catch our little grid here. All right, we are just wanting to go, see what happens when you go straight down and out. Even though that there's this little tiny crochet hook on the end, right? You would think it's going to catch, but it's only going to catch if you go in at an angle. It goes straight down and straight out. There's no catch whatsoever. And that's what we have to focus on. So we're going to go pick up our thread, straight down into the fabric, wrap, turn, straight back out. Of course it gets caught. There it goes. All right. So straight down into the fabric, wrap, turn, and straight back out. And you got to give yourself slack with the thread, because if you don't, then you're going to catch it every time. All right. Straight down, wrap, turn, straight back out. And I'm already tilting it. I can tell, right? Because how can I tell? Because if you go straight down without wrapping it, straight down, turn, and then back, see, I'm already catching because I'm not going straight back down and up. That's this netting, as difficult as it seems, it's to teach you to go straight down and back out. Because if you're doing it at any other angle, you're going to catch it. So straight down, wrap, turn, and back out. Oop, I almost had it. I did have it. Okay. We pick up our stitch again. We're pointing in the direction that we're sewing. Straight down. Now, part of my difficulty here is that I am doing this, I'm watching this at an angle. You will be able to look straight up and down at it, where I cannot, because I am trying to also film this at the same time. So this is a bit of a challenge for me. If I were a little more, if I were able to do this more, looking over it directly, it wouldn't come out. Oh, I had it. Now the chain stitch is, a very simple stitch. And a lot of times too, the challenge is your underneath hand is trying to pull so tightly on this in order to keep this very taut. And I can tell you that Let me anchor this a little tighter. There we go. Um, the underneath hand is also there's there's a rhythm here that we're trying to pick up, right? So we're trying to go straight down with our knob facing the direction that we're sewing. We're doing that loop, then we're turning, and then we have to give the tool some slack and the underneath thread some slack, and our instinct is to just hang on to it super tight and make it super taut. And that is not what we are trying to do. And so here we go. And it's a rhythm that you're trying to pick up, you know? Down, turn, out, straight, down, wrap, turn, up, straight. So, oh, I almost had it there. And it is easy. I can tell you that I'm not I don't feel like I'm fighting it. The part that I feel that is difficult for me is to hang on to this bottom thread, and I'm like really like pulling it tight, like I don't um like I personally am feeling I'm pulling that bottom thread too tightly. And I should be giving it a lot looser slack. And if you get to a point in your fabric too where your fabric is not taut, okay, because remember the idea for tambour means drum. And if your tambour embroidery is, if your surface is not taut, it's gonna pull or also like move with you. So we don't want that either. You notice that when you go down and straight out, straight down and up, you have no resistance on this netting. And that's part of the issue, is to teach you this stitch. I'm not worried about the length right now of my stitches. I'm just practicing the going up and down. And see, I feel like I'm pulling a little too taut, a little too hard, right? Here, let's unwrap that. See how if I go straight down and back out, I have no resistance. There we go. See, it's just a matter of that little adjustment that we. Now you're probably like, why? Why wouldn't I just use a regular needle, Cheryl? And that's because this type of embroidery is what's very popular on like haute couture gowns. And if you are at all interested in making those beaded appliques, this is the type of embroidery that they use. So we're not worrying about our chain stitch length. We're just worrying about getting that practice between going up and down. So we're down into the fabric, notice that knob is pointing the direction that we're sewing. We're going to turn and go straight back out. Oops. I didn't turn. So you can see that it gets easier as you learn the way to twist the hook. Oops, didn't catch it. This is really, you want it to be like a hands-free type of situation, where you are moving your hand on top and your hand at the bottom at the same time, so you really don't have the ability to hold on to your hoop as much. So you're going to need either one of those, a way to elevate your embroidery hoop, whether you put books on either side or something like that, or you do that kind of thing. Now I'm going to stop here for this. Okay, and I'm going to do more stitches here at the top because that area is tighter on the surface. Okay, now I'm going to practice a little bit more on my the length of my stitch. Okay, so I'm going to pick a different thread. I'm just going to peek behind here, grab myself a different color, something you guys can see. It's hot pink. Oh, there goes everything on the floor. That's typical. Okay, this is not thick enough, so we need to pick a different thread. Oh, it's going to be one of these days. There we go. It's like, I got to put you back. Here we go. Here is this lovely salmon orange color. And we're going to pick just a small length of it. I'm just, again, we're going to focus more on the type of stitch, on the length of our stitch. Okay, so once again, I'm going to, this is just for practice. We're just anchoring our stitch with a pin. Give myself a little bit more thread there. And just going to loop this back and forth a couple times, little figure eight, little boating kind of knot. We're going to come up and we're just going to hook that, take it straight back down. There we go. All right, so now we've got our thread passed through to the back. And we're going to do the same thing, but this time we're going to focus a little bit more on the length and going straight up and down again. And let's do this so you guys can see. All right. There we go. All right. So again, we're in the same direction, straight down, wrap, turn, straight back out. And you know you're not going straight back out when you are. Now we're going to just double check the length of our thread or length of our stitch. And this is where you can pull with the underneath thread and adjust the length. Oops. And I let go. There we go. Down, loop, turn, straight back out, down. Oh, length is a little long, so let's shorten it. Loop, turn, straight back out. And that length, oops. Got to make sure you're when you're pulling, you don't want to be too loose with the bottom or it will create a too wide of a loop and then you won't be able to get it back out. And we're trying very hard here to make our stitches even. Now, do you see now why the turn is important? And that's because when you're facing this direction and you're going straight down, okay, the only way that your piece will come straight up between the two threads is if it's facing the opposite direction. So you go down in this direction, loop, turn, and you come back out, and it splits right between those two threads and comes out nice and evenly. But if you don't, you're going to end up catching it. Now, I swear to you, I have not done more than like the amount of stitches you see here of this type of embroidery before. So this is brand new to me, brand new, I'm sure, to many of you. And you're like, I've always wanted to try it. Now, here's another case where if you let go or you make that bottom stitch to pull that bottom thread too tightly or make it too loose, you end up making it to everything. Okay, so just make sure you go straight down, turn, down, turn. Don't forget to turn the right, oops. Direction we're facing, turn. Adjust your stitch length if you need to. Loop, turn, straight down, loop, turn, straight back out. And that's usually where we get caught. Adjust your stitch length, down, loop, turn, and out. You can get it. Down, oops, loop, turn, oops, we didn't loop. Did not catch the loop. See, I'm pulling too hard on the bottom thread. That's what's getting me to pull my own stitch out. So down, turn, straight down, loop, turn, and straight back out. Straight down, loop, turn, and straight back out. And see how I'm like pulling too tight on that? That's what's getting me caught and making me skip my stitch. So we're going straight down, loop, turn, and straight back out. And because that last stitch was a little too tight, okay, so straight down, loop, turn, there we go. Face the direction you're sewing. Your knob is facing the direction you're sewing. So you're going to adjust your stitch length because we're worried about the length of our stitches. Down, loop, turn, straight back out. Direction we're sewing, down, loop, straight back out. Well, I can tell I'm going in an angle, right? Because it's not going straight back out. So straight down, loop, turn, straight back out. And I'm caught. I'm also resting my arm on the the frame, so I have to be careful of that. Let's go down, loop, turn, and out. Adjust my stitch length, down, loop, turn, out. Just the stitch length. See, I pulled too hard and it pulled it off the hook. Down, loop, turn, out. Down, loop, turn. Oop, I didn't catch it. There we go. It gets a lot easier with practice, my friends. Like, I know you're like, gosh, this seems so difficult, but it really is not once you get the hang of it. And truly, the biggest thing for me was understanding the this knob. Okay, when you put your hook together, okay, you can see that hook has to face the direction of this little knob. And that made all the difference in this spinning action that you do with this hook. And I know that seems rather difficult, but let's take a look at these stitches. Okay, so you can see that my stitches are a little bit more even than these were fairly even, but they're much longer. Okay, and this is a great fill technique, right? So if you have a lot of area to fill with stitching back and forth, this would be an easy way to do that. You can do this on any fabric. I do like the ability to see my underneath hand. So this is a great practice fabric for you. This is just some cheap tulle type material. And don't get hung up on the fact that there's all these little holes because you're like, oh my gosh, this is gonna hook on it all the time. No, not unless you are doing it properly and you're going straight down and straight out. Notice straight down, straight out, no hook, no problem, no catching. You go on an angle at any point, you do get caught. So that's how you know you're teaching yourself to go straight down and then straight back out. Let's also talk about some other hooks that are on the market. And I'm going to just move all of this out of the way for a second. Okay, let me get this giant thing out of the way. All right, so this is the hook that I got to try this technique with. It was fairly inexpensive. It was on Amazon. Okay, it's very tiny. It's a very tiny little hook. It comes with 3 different sizes of needle heads. Okay, so you can see the different needle heads here for the various thicknesses of thread. And so you would want to make sure that you're using the appropriate size for the appropriate needle. Okay, for the thread that you're using. I'm using this one here for the thread that I'm embroidering with. Now you can do metallic embroidery, things like that. So here is another version of this same hook. And I was like, oh, Clover makes one. Okay, so I'll just take a look at the Clover one. And the Clover one is a little bit different in that it has this extra little latch attached to it. Okay. And at first I thought, oh my gosh, there's no way that latch was going to be a good thing. Okay. So can you see that latch there? Let's put that like that. There we go. So the latch, okay, initially I thought, oh my gosh, there's no way this. Plus when I bought this and I started putting the needle in, right? And of course now I had learned that you want your needle to fit into this, where you have, your needle facing the hook, or facing this knob. And so initially when I was putting this in here, I'm like, oh, it only fits in the, like, in a different direction, right? So if I start to play with this, like, it wants to fit pointing this way instead of pointing um at the at the hook. So you have to kind of force that in order to make it face the hook, or face the knob. That was a big issue. Um, the needle heads look like they're tiny. They're extra tiny and extra, extra tiny. That is true. Now they do come in different lengths or different widths, and for different types of threads. And one of the things I wanted to show you here was, right here, even on this clover packaging, you can see that they are showing you how to do this on very thin, very illusion like fabric. And they're doing with sequins and beads and all kinds of things. And you would then cut these out from their background and then apply them to whatever it is that you're working on. So initially I was like, there's no way that that this latch hook would work on this fabric, right? Because you're right, it does look like latch hook. This does feel like the rug hooking latch hooks from a rug, and it works very similarly. And so let me take my hoop off of here to show you, because this is a really interesting thing. Okay, because again, you're doing the same thing now for beading and things like that. Okay, for the beading, you do this from underneath. Okay, so you do the beading, you do it from the underneath, and you would have your hook comes through, and then you can see that the latch hook pushes all the way out, and then it closes as you pull it down. So in a way, the latch hook one is actually easier to use because it doesn't get caught, because it creates a hole, like a closure. So I actually kind of like the clover one better, because even if you do go in at an angle, you still come out the same spot without a problem, because you go all the way through and it like closes the hole. It closes that stop gap. I didn't think I was gonna like that. But I like it quite a bit. So if you can find the clover version, I suggest you try it. Now, again, you can do your standard chain stitch. Now, there's a lot of vintage lace that is made with the chain stitch. And yeah, I needed to also come with a magnifying glass. And I can also tell you, though, Roxanne, and even Gwen, that it is much easier when you are doing it and you are there looking down over your own work. This is very, it's a little difficult to look at here in the video because, again, it's like this far away from me for me to do the video. So that's why it feels very difficult. But one of the things I can tell you is that initially, if you are a beginner and you're learning this process, the latch hook version, because you're going straight down and you're turning and you're bringing it back up. Notice that the hook doesn't catch on anything because it's closing and keeping you from hooking on your own fabric. So in a way, the latch hook version is very beginner friendly. You would have to use a little bit heavier thread, I believe. So let's just hook onto here. I think it works better with a heavier thread, but you got to go all the way down so that you catch that that hook. Okay. But look at how much easier. Go all the way down, wrap, turn, pull, all the way down, wrap, turn, pull. See how much easier that is with the one with the latch hook? And the thing is like you really want to be careful with this latch hook. You do not want to ruin it. But it goes so much quicker because you're not catching on anything as you come back out. Does that make sense? So if you can, this clover one. Now it is called Catan Couture bead embroidery tool. They do want you to try this with beading, and you can do that with beads. You can do that with sequins. This is a great way to apply sequins, different kind of beads and things like that. Comes with full instructions, but you pretty much know now how to use it. If you've never tried Tambour Embroidery, this would be a great little tool to try it with. I enjoyed it. I can see lots of these little couture things that I would like to try. But if you haven't tried it, this would be something to give a shot to. Again, for those of you, this is very old, still used today in lots of couture. So I would say, I mean, why not, right? What have you got to lose? Give it a try. My friends, it is time for me to go. But if you have any questions, go ahead, drop them in the comments. Yeah. And Gwen, I agree. With fingers, more arthritic issues, that would work. Especially again as a beginner, this little latch hooky version is it's very, very cool. So I am going to add to this video links to where you can get these hooks if you want to try it, and hopefully you guys will give this a shot and let me know what you think. Otherwise, I will see all of you next Tuesday. And I hope you, if you haven't yet, please don't forget to go pick up our book. And I will see all of you next week. Take care of yourselves. Hopefully, I will be feeling better. Hopefully, you will have a wonderful week. Take care. Thank you. And tell Max we'll see you on Friday. He is so excited to come back on Friday. I will see you guys Friday. Take care and have a great week. Bye.